Are you racist? Keep it 100 from the cut. This is from March of 2020. Very controversial time. It's got a decent amount of dislikes.
No.
I'll be really surprised if anybody says yes in this. I'm just going to say that before we start.
Definitely. Well, hold on.
Are you
This
racist?
is going to be interesting.
Whoa.
Oh, am I what?
A racist?
Am I racist?
Yeah.
I should hope not.
What kind of question is that? I wasn't expecting to get asked that. I'm like, no?
No.
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 Hell no.
That is
Yeah.
a multi-layered question.
Well,
I actually, okay, so my quick take before we continue the video, I think there's a lot of people who will answer this question and say, no, I'm not racist, but will unknowingly make racist remarks in polite company without realizing that their comments are racist. You know what I mean? And then it just becomes a matter of like trying to figure out how much blame, you know, because like there's a difference, I think, between being accidentally racist and maliciously racist. You know what I mean? It's a fine line, but I don't want to, yeah.
I say the N-word when I'm by myself and listening to rap songs.
I've seen a black.
See, like that's, I don't think, I personally don't do that. I've actually stopped doing that like in the last like 2 years, just because I don't want to accidentally be on stream and say something like that, right? Like you guys have seen the horror stories of like Twitch streamers or YouTubers who will accidentally say the word because they've made it part of their vernacular or whatever. And of course, everybody listens to music or will listen to a song that will have that word in it, and you don't want to say it. So I try to be really, really cautious about that just because I don't want to get caught up in some shit like that. You know what I mean? But as far as offenses go, I don't think that's...
I've seen a black man like walking towards me and I cross the street, but I'm always in my head like, please know that this is because you're a man, not because you're black.
are you racist?
Yeah.
I'm not racist, but I'm a server, so you know, like, I know races. Like, how do I word it without sounding racist?
I have definitely like stereotyped people before.
I'm just like a stereotype.
The stereotypes.
Like what?
Everybody does that
People
though.
smell, they can't cook, they can't dance.
Asian people can't drive.
African American man, they have something that's bigger than everybody else.
I was just
Okay, wow, I did not think that's where that was going. But yeah, so there could be racist stereotypes, and yeah, that is racist, but I think that's different than like personally attacking somebody one-on-one with racism.
talking
You know what I
about
mean?
with my friend, setting her up with my other friend, and I'm like, but you know, he's Asian, so he probably has a small penis. And I was like, fuck, why did I say that?
Right, like when you're generalizing, I think there's just, there's layers to it. I really do. I really, really do think this, and I think context matters too. I don't want to keep pausing the video, sorry.
They just kind of pop up. I tell myself to shut up.
Are you racist?
Only when I'm driving.
Are you racist?
Jokingly.
I tell racist jokes.
I like to make a lot of jokes. Sometimes they're race jokes.
When I was younger, I'd like make a lot of jokes about it, but I realized like what are these like jokes actually saying, and like what am I communicating about people through the way I choose to make people laugh.
Are you racist?
No.
No, not even a little bit.
I wouldn't say that I'm racist nor I'm capable of it.
Didn't anyone tell you black people cannot be racist?
Black people can't be racist.
And why is that?
Racism is an institutionalized thing. I don't think black people have set up institutions powerful enough to like oppress other people.
I think I can be prejudiced, but I'm not racist.
I'm prejudiced.
I feel like I'm biased when it comes to white people, honestly, because I don't tend to give
In
them
what
the
way?
benefit of the doubt because they come into this world with so much privilege, and I need to work on that.
Can black people be racist?
I'm sure black people can be racist. I think anybody can be racist.
Being a light-skinned person growing up in Kenya, there's definitely a colorism issue going on where darker skin
Culture war
people
stuff like this is so
looked at
interesting.
differently than lighter-skinned people.
If you have like hate towards like a certain group of people, you are racist.
I think my dad's a racist.
My father was pretty racist.
I have some family that are racist.
I do have relatives that are definitely racist toward Japanese. I also have relatives that are racist towards...
It's interesting how that's changing over time
Like,
though
do you
too,
ever
you know what I
challenge
mean?
them, or are you like, Grandma, come on?
Nah, I let her have it.
Like, because 100 years ago, it wasn't
No.
No.
as...
Oh, no, never.
We live in such a woke, you know, we try to be so extremely progressive for the most part, especially social media. So like the world that you guys most likely live in, right? Those people who are like active in my chat, and me too, right? Like I'm all over social media. For us, it feels way different than somebody who may be older and doesn't use social media. You know what I mean? So like your worldview matters too. Like, and like some of the other people said where they grew up and based on what race they are, based
do
on,
you
you
know?
know,
Just
their
know that you
experiences.
don't hate people.
I feel like you know, right? Like if you have to tell people that you're not racist, that to me is a great sign that you're racist.
Are you racist?
No. I mean, if I am, please someone tell me, because that's so disappointing.
Are you racist?
I've been told I am. I was like kind of getting upset because I was tired of hearing about if you're white and Christian,
you're racist and you get away with everything. And I was like, how can you say that?
Yeah, I'm racist because I'm a white person. I think all white people are racist.
We have just been put into this system designed to empower our white privilege. As a white person, I am super racist.
I know a lot of people like to say, yes, I'm a
Well, see, that's weird. That's an interesting conversation because those people are saying they're racist, but they're also implying that it's not their fault, which I think is a really interesting take.
racist because that makes them feel like people know that I'm admitting my faults. But like, I think that's a weird like cop-out.
Have you experienced racism?
Oh, heck yeah. I grew up in the South.
I mean, it happens every day, really.
I've been slammed on cop cars. I've had, guns pulled out on me from police officers.
I'm followed through a grocery store.
Got made fun of a lot.
Ching chong, ling long, all this and that.
Did you like jump the border? Can you speak English?
Hey, speak English. Konnichiwa. I want to eat sushi from your pussy.
Oh, you're the manager?
I had more experience than my coworker, and that person was getting paid more than I did.
So I was on the football field and someone had tackled me and they were like, Asians don't play football. I was like, wait a second, you can't say things like that. That hurt a little bit, but I was like, little do you know, I got a little black in me. That's why I got 2 touchdowns already.
Oh, I thought he was gonna, I was hoping he was gonna say it's because, little do you know, I'm actually pretty good. I didn't think he was going there, man. It looks bad that I was like nodding along.
Am I racist? Who isn't, to some extent?
I think everyone's racist.
I think everyone.
Everybody?
Everybody is racist. The human experience is to have difficulty stepping outside of yourself.
I know that I will always make mistakes.
I think I'm part of the society that enables racism.
We live in a white supremacist culture and society,
and we need to actively work every day.
So it's a continual process to unlearn things.
What do you do to actively change it?
Just gauging each and every scenario that you go through.
Taking like a moment and trying to see if you're making this choice based on some unconscious biases.
Honestly, deep inside, I used to be racist.
I was brought up racist.
I grew up in a phobic culture.
There was a period of time where I was like against interracial dating.
I remember being very young, having like negative perceptions of African American people.
But I've met better people and opened myself up and I've healed.
I think that just exposing myself and being like, hey, like these people are actually really cool and I shouldn't be afraid of hanging out with them.
Are you racist?
To everybody.
Confidence in that answer.
Everybody can get it. I don't like nobody. So I just discriminate equally.
That's a good answer. That's funny. I like that. All right, let's read the comments before I start giving you guys some of my takes. Are you racist? No, I mean, if I am, please someone tell me because that's so disappointing. So actually, I'm really glad that this is the first comment we read. One of the things that I really try hard to think about, it kind of connects to one of the first points that I made when we first started watching this video, which is like, I think there are people who can unknowingly be racist, right? Like there's people who are maliciously racist, right? Who know that they're making mean comments, who know that they're saying mean things and they still say them. And then there's other people like, maybe it can be somebody in your family or somebody who's a little bit older, right? Who can make a comment about somebody of a particular race. It's kind of little racist, right? It's just not a nice thing to say, but they don't know that they're saying it. This comment is kind of one of my biggest fears, not just in the sense of racism, but just in the sense of my personality and who I am. Like one of my biggest fears just in general is I'm on my deathbed and I realize that there's something about myself that I did, either a personality trait or a tick or something that I did on a regular basis that bothered people that nobody told me about. That is a fear that I have. And I understand not everybody's going to like me, but if there are things that I objectively do that, again, objectively aren't good or that I could improve on, I want to know what those things are, right? Like biting into string cheese. Not quite what I'm talking about, Jose. You can retract that comment. Thank you. But I think that all by itself is a really interesting conversation. And it's so interesting to see too, like with such a pretty straightforward question, what most people would be considered to be a pretty straightforward question, there was a wide variety of answers. There are people who will confidently say, no, I'm not racist at all. There's people who say, I'm not racist, but I'm prejudiced. There are people who will say, I'm not racist, but I do judge people based on their race, right? Like internally. And I think everybody does that to some extent, right? Human nature, we put people in categories. But I don't think there's anything I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. We all do that to some extent internally in our own heads, right? There's some people who say, I think because I'm white, literally just because I'm white, that I'm racist. There's people who will say, that last woman, who I think was the only woman in the whole video who just said I'm racist towards everybody. These culture war conversations, I think, are so interesting. This is such a root issue for like so many societal issues, I think. And it's rooted in like years of, you know, society and evolution and in human nature, right? Like how we communicate and put ourselves in groups and categorize ourselves in social status. The conversation is so interesting. This is one of my favorite videos that I've ever had to watch and talk to you guys about. Genuinely, it's such a sensitive topic, but I love talking about stuff like this, right? Because I think more conversations do need to be had about this. In particular, Braves just won the World Series. Let's go. Cheating Astros lost. I'm racist towards the Astros. I'm joking, that's a joke. So to be honest, if you have the intent to be malicious with the racist things you're saying, that's definitely bad. But if you're not trying to be malicious, I don't know, it depends. What do you think? That's sort of like the point I was making originally, right? Which is because what people do is they tie the word, if you're being racist with there's like this malicious intent in there too. There's plenty of room for everybody to grow. It's a complicated issue. And the part of the difficulty too is you have tons of different people of tons of different races and different backgrounds who are all going to interpret it differently, right? You can have two white people who are going to answer that question completely differently, right? Like, are you racist? Or a more interesting question when it comes to what are people's takes on things, do you think society is racist? Or do you think this particular group of people is racist, right? Like you can make the question more specific, and I think we'd still be surprised at how vast the answers are, right? I think the conversation is so interesting, and I wish I could be more articulate about it, because I really think if there is a way to bring everybody together on an issue like this, we could make some huge changes in the world. I wish I knew of a way to bring everybody together, and I don't, but I love talking about it and hearing about it. This was a really cool video.